Welcome to the Inner Beacon. I am your host, Marisa. I'm a Canadian girl mama of two, business owner, flight attendant, and a certified self-love coach. You are in the right place if you are ready to lead your life from within, to reconnect with your intuition, trust yourself deeply, and reclaim your power. My goal and intention here is to inspire and empower you. And for fun, I might even add some flight attendant content and travel tips. And I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive into today's episode. All right, so as promised, this is a bonus and it's from a live that me and Brittany did on Instagram. Our information will be at the end and in the show notes. But yeah, enjoy.
Oh,
It
hi.
worked this time.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I need to back this up. Okay. I'm new doing this in my place. So
I'm at a next hotel like last time. Story of my life. I guess I can start off with why we called this Declutter December.
Yes, please.
Well, first of all, this year alone in numerology was the number 9, which is a year of completion in numerology. And I have found that there's been a lot of endings, a lot of closure this year. It's about a lot of things that are finishing off and like cycles that were ending, truths that were coming to light.
Yeah.
And that's 9. It's completion, right? A lot of things that had to fall apart. And as it might sound bad, when things fall apart and sometimes we're in this why is this happening, but it's usually for good things to come in, letting go of bad for things to come in. I would love to know your perspective and kind of how that's shown up for you this year or for anybody that you've worked with. Uh-oh, did I lose you? Hard, but sometimes those things have to be let go of so that to make room for what's coming in, what's new. And that's what 2026 energy is going into.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's kind of why we went with Declutter December, because I think that you and I have been talking, it's all about letting go of what we don't need to bring into 2026. And that can be physical and energetically, and they both go hand in hand. So I wanted to ask you, how's that shown up in your life or the people that you're working with?
You want to know? Okay. Where do I start? Okay. I won't I've had a lot of endings this year, actually. Even in, what's super interesting? Probably the biggest one is transitioning careers.
True.
Yeah. And that was in the middle of the year. So there was a huge, we think about endings. If we were to talk about this on a spiritual level, it kind of comes in a tower moment environment, where things a foundation's built and then we end up learning it's not sturdy or stable. So it breaks on us.
Yeah.
And even working with people, I see that mentally, emotionally. We can kind of actually sometimes see that physically, depending on how we're taking care of our physical bodies, right? If we build a certain foundation, crack, right? Depending on what we're feeding ourselves with. And that even goes to the exertion of how our body works, what we're watching. If we're not feeding our minds with something good for us, we crack from that, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about that, even on a career level, that's probably been one of the biggest shifts for me in terms of an ending and changing and becoming a new perspective. And even though you saw this, it launched in July, there was still a lot of, what the decluttering was. So that would have been more of the physical aspect of people watching. But then I also had to break down some mindsets and perspectives and beliefs I had around what that meant and how that looked and how is it acceptable? Am I allowed to do this? What will people think? This is where things really shift and you get really tested to see what you've created for yourself and who you've become is going to work. And This is why they say be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Yeah. And we actually are completely worthy of everything that we wish for. But, I've talked to some people, and I even learned this in my own growth. I don't know if you have too, Marisa, but, I've had a couple of coaches, like really wise people, say to me, okay, so you get it. Are you ready to hold it? And I really think that leads into decluttering. December, like the declutter, is really about letting go what can't come with you. That could sabotage, could get in the way, might create weight. We talk a lot about things having seasons. Sometimes we have things that have lifetimes. And we can look at this throughout our whole life. We can really consider it,
Yeah, I can definitely relate with seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think that's why I enjoy them so much now, because I just see how it moves in life, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the best way I can answer that question for you, with how a 9-year has gone.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I'm very similar in the patterns. Like for me, it was a lot of mindset things too that I had to release. And like, I didn't actually realize like the reflection, and what came to light for me really was how I was talking to myself and how I was allowing things to get in my own way, even myself.
Yeah, I think I'm the worst for that, getting in my own way. It's usually me most of the time. Other people are busy.
True. True. But like even for my one-on-one, like I remember being like, oh, but it's gonna be really hard with kids, and like I would just make up excuses. And I'm like, okay, when does that stop, and when do I start making discernment a thing and just changing things and shifting energy? And then I remember when I was doing Soul Light with you, and you're like, what? And like things just started shifting for you. What? Like you started trusting?
Yes,
Funny when we make that.
Too. Yeah.
What?
I was proud of you with that too.
Thank you.
And like, hey, I do want to say this as well. I want to honor the fact that like some decluttering actually takes bravery, because we get comfortable, and some stuff feels like comfort, like a comfort blanket, the comfort zone. So it's not actually easy for all of us to let things go. What is it? What are we without it? Right? And that goes as far as keeping a spatula in your drawer in the kitchen for as long as you can think, right? And I'm having fun with the analogy of it, but like that's a very real thing. There's lots of stuff in our kitchen that we've had for years that we're just chilling with.
Literally perfect, because I was also thinking like, what are the analogies that I wanted to bring in today? Is decluttering the drawers. We all have a drawer, a junk drawer, where the receipts that you might need one day go in, or the cords that your device doesn't work for anymore, but it might come in handy one day.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I wrote, I know you had as well, but I was doing some channeling and wrote some things down on what we could honestly discuss today. And like basically the line was, it's all the things, you got to do all the things that we don't want to do, or we want to do last. Oh, I don't have time today. Oh, I'll do it another day.
Yes. And I think that's why like the work that I do with my clients is I usually like asking really good questions in your journal sessions, because sometimes it's like we don't want to face what we're feeling, but like the shadow work is what's needed to bring those patterns to light, so that you can see, like I said before, like I didn't know that I was getting in my own way until like I had to basically look in the mirror. And like we have to look at these things that are hard to face, like you said. But once we get over that hump, things get better. Things get lighter.
I can't speak for everyone. I can definitely speak for myself on this if you really let me know. But like for a long time, I tended to kind of undermine the really simple decluttering things I needed to get done. Mm-hmm. And I didn't give them purpose, and I didn't think they mattered as much. But I teach a little bit of intuitive living with some of the clients I work with. I think you actually experienced that exercise.
Yes.
And this is a practice I've actually done with myself for a while, especially if I want to just get back into what I really need and what I really want to be experiencing in life. And that's the idea of decluttering, is like, honestly, what do I want around me? What do I need to live with? and what can I live without? What can't I live without? Just to kind of create what we want to be experiencing. And there was one day I did the intuitive living, and it was like I would do one thing that my body was asking of me, that gut feeling, and I would get it done. And then it was done. And then I get it done. And like I had about 10 things I needed to do for about 3 weeks, and I got it done in less than 3 hours. And I was embarrassed. Like, obviously I'm telling all of you now, even though I was the only one in the room. And I thought, 3 weeks I pondered on all of this, and it took me less than 3 hours. And it's stuff I'm never going to have to do again. And I noticed something really interesting about it too, was like, that was less I had to think about.
Yeah.
That was gone.
So now you made room for good to come in. You made room, like that's the thing. Once you declutter that drawer, there's room for new stuff. And that's kind of like declutter December. Like you don't want to go into January, into 2026 with things that no longer serve you.
Or needed to get finished 3 months ago.
Exactly.
Which is the most human thing right now.
Like as humans, like that's what we do. It's like we're climbing up this mountain with a backpack and we're carrying rocks along the way. Like why? Like why do we have this weight on our shoulders? Or like if you're angry at somebody, it actually is affecting you more than them. So like why are you continuing holding on to something when you can just let it go?
Okay, that's an interesting segue to talk about letting go of people that have hurt you. Has that anything you've experienced this year?
There's been a lot of uncomfortable things that have been hard to navigate around people that I don't want in my energy. And that, I guess, is in an energetic way. It is because they're in your field and it affects me, especially as an empath. So that's been hard to navigate for sure.
And do you have any steps that you do to kind of declutter that out of your maybe mind, out of your body? How is that? How do you do it?
I honestly try to focus on the things I can control because it was not something that I could, but also just removing myself from the situation or from the energy, if as much as I possibly could.
Totally.
Because that one's really an energetic thing, and I do have rituals also too that I use for myself just to kind of protect. Almost like as a kid, if you heard the "you are rubber, I am glue," whatever you say, that's literally sometimes what I do. I'll sit there and I'll just like imagine this like golden light that just looks like rubber and expand, and then whatever's coming at me, bye bye.
Right. I mean, it works. It works for people. There's lots of people like imagining it, letting the mind know how it can like help navigate through things that are uncomfortable that we can't necessarily, or we feel like we're out of control of, even though we have a little bit more than we realized. There's lots of cool stuff like that. There is something I want to add in that I think would be a really fun exercise for people if they're watching right now about decluttering, emotionally and mentally too, especially if you're finding you're going into 2026 and you've felt betrayed or let down. You're going to laugh at me, but it does work. I want you to write out the scenario as much as you can until you're bored of it. And that actually helps with release.
Like a broken record. I love that.
Like and there's something I'm going to explain that I explain to a lot of clients and people I talk to in readings is we can't change the past, but what we can do is not let it rule us.
Yes.
And when we look at letting go, it's not necessarily that we're getting rid of an entire scenario because we can. It's part of the story now. But what we're doing is we're making it, and I brought this up. I think I brought it up in the last talk as well, but we're going to shelf what can't come with us. It's a story that can be read, though. It's going to be remembered. We're still people. We'll probably, like for a time, I've been hurt. I've hurt others and been reminded of it throughout my life. That's just, but something I've learned, I've seen said from other people, and I learned from people I trusted is the letting go aspect is so it's not ruling us anymore. And when we have kind of the clear conscience around things where we could not control another person, we can now release and we can navigate how we want to move forward to have goodness, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. Like we can't, there's some situations that we walk just through experience. I know, and I'll throw this word in lightly because it's not the discussion for today, but karma is thrown around a lot. And sometimes we don't always have to bring it into the conversation. Sometimes we are just experiencing.
Yeah.
And there are people that choose all kinds of behavior, and some of it isn't good for us.
Yeah.
So we do our best to kind of navigate that after.
Yeah.
And then I always see forgiveness and that kind of letting go aspect of like protection for myself and choosing myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that I haven't hurt before, and I can't say that it's easy, but I can say it's possible.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. There's 3 things that I have done with either in workshops or with clients who that kind of go hand in hand, like kind of similar to what you're saying too. One is like the burn and bitch or the let go ritual, so to say. And it's literally like you said, like just writing it all on paper, just everything, just word vomit basically on a piece of paper. And what I've done in my let go ritual full moon workshop that I did years ago was that I had them do that and then actually burn the paper, because there's something energetic there because you're watching it go, like you're basically, yeah. So those are 2 things, but also you also said forgiveness, and I think forgiveness is huge. It's one of the steps on the roadmap to self-love from the self-love certification that I got, and it's so big. Like, it's not just forgiving to forgive someone, but to forgive to let go, like I said before, because we don't need to hold on to that.
One of the things that really helped me as well, especially if you've been hurt by somebody, is not, if it doesn't work, forgiving them because you're not ready, it also can help the perspective of forgiving the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of detaches a little bit, because I know as a deep feeler myself, some stuff really has affected me. And I found when I kind of shifted perspectives a little bit, when it came to understanding what forgiveness can do, when I looked at the bigger picture, it really supported me. So there's just an idea in there for all of you, whoever's listening right now.
Thanks for the love. We got people up in here.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We love that there's people this time.
Yeah. And when you can't call in anything that's new or cling on to anything that's expired, because when we finally clear that space, it actually gives you room for it to land, for what you're trying to bring in to land.
Yeah, I agree. Also, too, for like decluttering and letting go actually supports growth. Exactly. So we're fixated on what's hurt, or we don't want to say goodbye to, because I'm sure you have felt this too, and maybe people watching, but there's been some situations that I've had to leave my life I really didn't want to say goodbye to. I was like, oh no, I don't want to say goodbye to this, but it always worked out in the end. Everything's always somehow been really good in the end. But that's also something, coming to acceptance around things that we can't control that need to leave.
Yes.
Growth gets really good after that. That's where focusing on yourself really expands.
Yeah.
So it's fun. This is really great to be talking to all of you right now about what decluttering can actually mean for your life and for your inner self, and things that you get to focus on and the choices you get to make. Clarity is very fascinating that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where we kind of,
if you're in here, I invite you to choose something, an area in your life that you want to declutter. That could be energetically, it could be physical, because when you're moving energy in your house, you're shifting the energy in your house. So nothing stays stagnant, especially if you want movement and you want change in your life. I find that, like people, when someone's having a meltdown or something happening in their life and they go and cut their bangs or color their hair just because, that's the same thing. You energetically are already feeling the need for the change. And even if you don't know what that is, the only thing you can control it is your space. And your space is your sanctuary. That's your everything.
Totally. It's interesting too, because I thought of like 3 steps, and how could you do a declutter in 3 steps before the new year? We don't even have to do a big thing on everything we're talking about. Something I learned is it takes practice to let go and be okay with it, and have gratitude for things that come in and leave. That's taken me a very long time, especially if I get hurt or if I accidentally hurt somebody, because most of the time I'm not really looking to harm anyone. I don't like the feeling, so I don't want to do it to others. I'm
Yeah,
sure you guys make the same way. Yeah. It hurts just as bad as getting hurt.
yeah.
It's not
And
a good feeling.
but what you're saying about the gratitude, that's important too, because it has its lessons. Like the bad and the hard, it doesn't make sense, but and you don't want to let go, but be grateful for the lessons and move forward.
It's such an interesting thing too, because I've spoken to people in readings where I've said, can you look at what they did for you and can you let go from there? It wasn't totally awful, right?
Absolutely. What can I learn from this?
Yeah. And even the things we collect teach us, oh, maybe I don't need to collect that next time. I'll just let it go.
Right?
I have a few moments the last couple of weeks where I'm like, why did I buy this? You know, it became a really great gift and donation.
I
Why is
think
this in my room?
millennials can also attest to this. I don't know why we do it. My husband's the worst for this. It's like you get an iPad, you get a phone, and you keep the box. Why do we just keep the box?
Yeah, I
Why do you need
definitely
the box?
kept my box.
There
I
you
did
go.
that.
Get rid of the box.
I'm definitely that person. Oh no, I have more decluttering to do.
That is like so millennial.
Oh,
I don't know why we all do it.
nailed it. I threw in my box today. I gotta be honest though, we don't want to minimize that at all. Like we got want to remember that's a physical thing of a step that you could do.
I keep the box. See, we're not the only
box in
ones.
my iPad. I took steps. We have a comment.
Yeah,
I keep the box. Yes, we got
I
it.
told you.
We're all in this together.
So, guys, homework for today: go get rid of the junk in your junk
Yes.
drawer, and go get rid of the boxes you no longer need in your life. Make
Totally.
room for better for
Oh, but
2026.
yeah, it's so interesting too. Like, so we're talking a little bit about the physical. I have a really funny one to give everyone as well. Mentally, so Maurice actually brought up writing something down and burning it. Now, I brought this up in full moon and new moon ceremonies, and I cannot take credit for this. I learned this from her name is Christina Bignell. She was a coach of mine a couple years ago when I was learning about what all of this is. But whether you do full moon and new moon ceremonies or you just want to do something that would like physically and mentally support you, Marisa, you know this trick. You can write down what you want to let go on toilet paper and flush it down the toilet.
I love that.
And I'm telling you, it's funny, it seems weird, but it really helps. And it's been a couple of years. I've suggested it to a lot of different people, and I always give credit where it belongs. Like I definitely learned this from
That is so funny.
It's so good for the environment too, because it's toilet paper.
I don't know what podcast I recently heard. It's related to this though, and some lady was talking about how she gets the best ideas when she's on the toilet. It's because you're making room for that to come in.
There it is. I can't believe she said that, but awesome, I guess, for her. That's
right, but it's relatable. Like you're you're letting go. You're making room. Yep, this just went there.
Yeah. But I will say too, even on an emotional level, this does take time out of the day. Marisa knows this one well too. But a good meditation, and if you can find a really stable piece of breath work, like you can literally Google it and find the one you're looking for now. Breathing is available everywhere. I'm sure you could even find it for free on YouTube for someone to guide you. But if there are some emotions that you're looking to get out of your body, the safest way is to breathe.
Yeah.
It's the calmest, and it's the calmest way I found, especially working with people, is it doesn't trigger the nervous system or anything. It really supports the brain as well. So that's just a small little trick.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
It's your life force energy. We can't do anything without breath. Breath is amazing.
Yeah.
This is a good podcast. Okay, we're getting some feedback.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us know that, actually.
Thank
That's
you.
very, very cool. Thank you very much for that.
And then we've talked a lot about decluttering and moving energy and the energetic about it, and a little bit about the house. But you and I both connect on this because we lived together before and we
Yeah.
talked about seasons.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing too, because you're shifting and you're moving with the seasons and using them to your advantage, kind of like new moon and full moon because of the energies of the seasons.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
mean, that's something I think very cool, especially if people in here or end up watching, they know astrology. I find astrology fascinating. I haven't dove enough into it. I have been told I follow my chart. Like it's like, if you want to find out what's going on with me, just look at my chart. It just tells on me all the time. But it does. But, and like one of my coaches was like, I always know what's wrong with you or what you're going through. It's in your chart. I'm like, okay, I don't feel weird at all. But, but I do like how certain things highlight themes around what you can let go of mentally and emotionally and how it can support you. I find that really neat. That's actually why I enjoy the ceremonies. Folks, if you haven't done one before, this is really just about setting goals and releasing what isn't working for you anymore, whether that's a belief or you have something that you've needed to get done for a while, so you put it on, and then next month another moon comes in that kind of energy. Now the new moons and the full moons work in two bi-weekly, so they're every 2 weeks of each other. But it's pretty neat. It's not, I know people show candles and you can get all mystifying in it, but I actually really enjoy the journaling and the goal setting. That's been my favorite part. And I
it's all
found it
about intention.
really helpful. Yeah.
Yes. That's one of my favorite things, honestly, at the end of the year to do is like really reflect on like what has moved this year for me in the direction of my goals.
Yeah.
And like when you do reflect too, like your brain starts to like look for evidence of all these great things and like what has really like I have a almost 2-year-old and I put it on my story the other day, like the difference of what she looks like in the beginning of the year until now. Like that's how much movement and change happens. Like it's more noticeable because she's so little, but for us too, our cells are moving every second, and you're like that's your whole embodiment is shifting. And how is it moving forward into the new year? So that's a great place to, I really challenge you to sit with that and reflect on like what have you done this year that has worked in your favor and how can we bring more of that into 2026.
Yeah. And it's also okay to reflect on knowing what hasn't worked, because that's the declutter.
And that's
So,
also with the growth.
yeah. And it's okay to be honest too. It's okay to be like, wow, this is not working. I need to take a different approach. Or I tried it, it wasn't my path. Just all kinds of stuff like that. It's okay to reflect. And that's right, Marisa, that is the growth. And decluttering is what clears us further to focus on ourselves. And like you've always said, our best priority is ourselves. Everybody benefits from that, because when we are level, when we're centered, when we're setting goals for ourselves, it actually disrupts the comparison game because you're busy working on yourself. And your competition turns into yourself if you want to have that in there. Competitions, there's a healthy version of that, and you can weigh that out in your growth, but I always try to be careful. I mean, that's can be a bit of a loaded word, but other than that, this is why we want to declutter. It's because we want to make sure we're on our own side.
The best reflection or competition that you should have is the one just with yourself.
Yeah.
Reflecting on what you have to let go of in order to become the version of you that is successful. Totally. What can you let go of? Old habits, old beliefs, old versions of ourselves, emotional clutter, like you said. And that's literally, that could be a prompt in itself. You can do a whole page and just write like, what is no longer serving me? What habits can I change? What are the patterns? And when aware, when you're in a place where you're more aware of that version of yourself and you can be your authentic self too, you react differently. Like in situations in your life, you're able to come from a completely different energy.
Totally. Clearer.
Exactly.
When I talk to people who aren't in clarity, I'm always like, you got to wait. Let it lift.
Yeah.
Lift off. There's
Sit
stuff
with
coming
that for a
off.
bit. Literally, in order, before I react, I always have to be like, I need to take a step back.
That takes
And come back
practice
to
too. So
it. It
good
does.
job. That's
It
amazing.
does.
That's an amazing skill to have,
Yeah.
is to reassess and then respond instead of I had to practice it.
Yes.
I still do. So yeah.
I mean, we're only
This
human at the end of the day.
totally. This is so great. So why don't we sum it up, folks? When you leave this discussion, it's looking at 3 steps. We'll say physical, emotional, and mental declutter before 2026. If you've never done this before, or you have, but you're not sure where to get started, just start with one of each, get it accomplished. So that's 3 things. Check it off the list. You've already shifted your energy, right?
Absolutely.
And then
And
Marisa had her prompts. Yeah, I love them. So
yeah, so you can go back, rewind. I've been speaking prompts out here. What needs decluttering in your life? What junk drawer do you need to go do? Go clean it out. Go get rid of the box. And at the end of the day, also, I want to gift something because we are in December and it is a gifting month. And on the topic of letting go, if you are here or if you're watching the replay and after you've watched the live, write in the comments, let go in capital letters or whatever, just let go. And I will send you a link to one of my meditations from my Meditation Vault library from my membership. And it's literally about cutting cords and letting go. So think about what you want to release. Think about if that's a belief system, if that's just like someone you need to forgive, whatever it is, and take that into the meditation. So let go, and I'll send you the link to the meditation.
I love it. And then before we finish, Marisa, do you want to tell everybody what you're offering right now in case they want to work with you?
Absolutely. I have a one-on-one program container. And within the structure of the program, we kind of, again, talk about the patterns in your life. The goal is to get more aware and get out of the chaos and basically base everything on paper. And then from that, we go to releasing. And I have a couple different tools that I can give you from that. The whole journey is a shift, but also like for you to get clear on your own intuition and make changes. And for mamas, I work with a lot of mamas out there. I know life is so freaking chaotic with kids, and this is your permission to sit with me and I coach you for an hour long. Yes, there's a structure, but I want to cater it to what you actually need. So if you're feeling called, I am taking one-on-one free coaching calls right now and see if we can connect, if we work together from there and vibe it out. And yeah, I also have I also have a self-love membership. And if you're curious about that, DM me. I can tell you all. It's 7 days for free. There's free meditations in there. There's EFT tapping. There's a bunch of things, lots of tools, lots of workbooks.
Yay! It's so exciting.
And
I
for
love hearing about
you,
all of it.
thank
Oh, me. Yes. Okay. So just to let you all know right now, I do have a discount going on the psychic kind of intuitive channel sessions that I give. Right now, they are $50 from now until December 31st, and they're regular $75. So it's $25 off. I've done this every year. I think this is like my 3rd or 4th year now I'm doing the rate for the end of the year. And then I also run a one-on-one container called Soul Light Alchemy. This is very geared toward the emotional body. We go through a 3-month journey and program together. I invite in all of you. And yeah, it's just focusing on getting the nervous system rested. It's about helping you connect back intuitively, back into the gut and what that mind, that we call that the second mind. It's literally said in science.
Yeah.
And then I help people come back to their heart and reconnect in that way of the mind, body, and soul. And it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of amazing transformations I'm watching with the people I've worked with right now. I also worked with Marisa, and that is
I was just going to say.
and her thriving phase of life now. And that is the whole point and purpose of this. So if you are interested, please DM me. The connection call we get started with is free. and then we will go from there. I have a 2025 rate for the container, and then it goes up in 2026. So lots of changes coming. It's really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been really good. Okay. To everybody that joined us this evening, thank you so much for being here. The first time we did this, there wasn't anyone.
Right?
Like,
and I
there were
love
one or
the
two.
feedback.
We had one.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We
That's
did
right.
have one. We had one or two, I think, at one point. But this was so cool.
Yeah.
We're definitely looking to continue this. So we'll do our best to find.
Thank you for spending this time with me here on the Inner Beacon. If you're not already following me, you can find me on Instagram at iammarisa.xo. And if this episode resonates, spread the love like you would Nutella by sharing this podcast and tagging me so that I can personally thank you. And if you are feeling extra loving, leaving a review helps light up another beautiful soul and supports the growth of this space. I am so glad you're here. I'll meet you on the next episode.